Namaste. Namaste. Generally, there is a question, a really basic question. What is this consciousness? And there is very varied meaning from different people. Can you explain us what is this consciousness and how does it work?
The theme of consciousness is perhaps a very interesting and perhaps the most fascinating theme within this spiritual, intellectual world, what it is, where it comes from and all that. And we know that the great master of consciousness is Sri the Mother. And it is causing a lot of problem for a lot of people to understand what consciousness is. Because in normal psychology or neurology, consciousness is that you're awake. Okay? But what is the difference between when you're sleeping or when you're not awake and when you're awake? I said very simple is that when you're awake, you become aware of your surroundings. So consciousness basically is primarily a neurological phenomenon, begins as a neurological phenomenon. Okay? That you start observing or noticing that there are objects, there are people. The child becomes more and more conscious. In the beginning, when the child is born, it is still in a state where we are not sure if there is this consciousness as such to take. But more and more we see that the child becomes aware, if not through eyes and all that, through frequency and energy, that this is the mother touching it. And it calms down because the mother takes it in his arm and all that. So already there, the process of consciousness starts. As the brain evolves, consciousness evolves. Consciousness in the neurological term of consciousness. I'm not talking about the consciousness that Sri Aurobindo and the mother at all. That is the most fascinating area. I tell you, you can spend hours and days reflecting on it, and it's so interesting, and it makes the entire difference in life. In the previous video, I talked about normal life and spiritual life and all that. No, it's all one, as I said. And that oneness comes to this consciousness. And this consciousness is very important that life be an integral life, a true life. Okay? So let's go step by step. First it starts, it's a neurological process, consciousness, that you become aware of your surrounding. Yeah. So you're conscious when you're driving, that it's the red light you have to stop. You're conscious that somebody is knocking on the door. Okay? This is what we call also awareness. So people ask me, what is consciousness? How do I reach these? How do I find out if I'm in that state of consciousness? I said, it's all a question of discipline, of observing and becoming aware. But now there's not just optical awareness of what is around you, okay, of physical matter, or physical phenomena, of sound and all that. But now you start becoming aware of non-molecular phenomena. That is, this is molecular. Not sound, or not auditive awareness. You start developing this awareness of occult things that you can't see. For instance, your thoughts are occult. You can't see them. It's an energy. So when you start becoming aware of what you're thinking, or how you're reacting, but you're truly aware, you're not just reacting and saying, I'm angry. But seeing the process, how this anger starts, and observing it helps you to control it. So, I'm talking of this consciousness starts with, as I said, first normal neurological consciousness, awareness that we are aware of things around us, and then to start becoming aware or conscious of things that are not molecular, that are not auditive, that are not evident around you, but they are occult, that you start observing. And most people do not observe. They are not even aware, for instance, not even of, they are not even aware of the biological functions of the body, that the heart is beating, that they are breathing. When did you stop to say, oxygen is going in and I'm exhaling. Never. And you breathe 24 hours a day. Okay? So the yoga of Mother and Sri Aurobindo is a yoga that is truly leading us to this point where we can become more and more able or capable of this consciousness that goes then beyond just the phenomena of what is happening in your mind, your thought and all that. But you can become aware of this divine presence, this divine consciousness, that you can become one with it. And again, only great masters like Sri Aurobindo. And I think he's the unique person, Mother and Sri Aurobindo are the unique masters on this earth who have introduced, who have brought down from this very high level of creation, this Brahmanic consciousness has been manifested to them. And we have to start understanding. So what is this Brahmanic consciousness? I can only tell you what it is by what it gives you, how you feel when you go into that particular state of Brahmanic consciousness, Sri Aurobindo's consciousness, Mother's consciousness. Is that you are absolutely under the control of the spirit, of the soul, your body, your mind, everything, your brain. Doesn't listen to your logic and all that. The logic has no more place. It is the soul that gives the indication how to react and act and how to enjoy life. My God, how can we live one without the other? Without this body, I could not experience this consciousness. But without this consciousness, I cannot really enjoy life through this body. It gives, this consciousness gives you total control over the biological functionings of your body and all that. To the point that I'm also sure this consciousness has got such powerful energy, right, that it can even control your biological functions when it comes to illnesses, when it comes to solving certain physical, biological problems. Because it is life-sustaining, this consciousness. It is this consciousness, this energy, this spirit, this soul, which is truly pure consciousness, that sustains life. If it is not there, if it leaves the body dies. And it leaves the body is sick, or too old, or too damaged through an accident or something. Then this energy leaves the body because the body is no more fit place for it to stay. And there is this process of reincarnation and all that. Okay? So, what is consciousness? Consciousness is, basically, as I said, it starts with normal neurological awareness, that you become aware that you are woken up, it is time to get washed, and all these things is neurological consciousness and awareness. Awareness is that you become aware of objects around you, or dangers or situations around you. But then you go beyond it. It's when you start becoming aware of occult things that you observe through another, not through the brain, through this other thing called consciousness. You're observing these biological functions of the body and controlling it. Very vague. I still have to define it, what consciousness is, but it is a state of being, I say, where not the body, not the brain dominates life and body, but the mind, or what I call the voice of the soul, the divine in us, this Brahmanic consciousness in us dominates the body and life and the enjoyment of life. And you can only enjoy life to its optimum when you bring this material body of yours under the control of this consciousness, this spirit, the divine within us. And when you're one with that, you are in a state of Brahmanic consciousness. When you become one with the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, with their consciousness, you have become one with this Brahmanic consciousness, because they are one. They are the Brahmanic consciousness that was brought down on earth. So I see them, sure, physically as beings or human beings, but who are not dominated by the biology of the brain and all that, but through this Brahmanic state that they are, this Brahmanic consciousness that they are. And we can become one with that. It's a state, it comes through, honest to God, it's all a question of practice, getting used to it. Nobody has taught us this. Everybody said, pay attention to the traffic, pay attention to your teacher, pay attention while you're doing your homework. Concentrate on this, concentrate on that. But nobody has taught us what is really this inner awareness. And to me, my life's value is only through this particular inner awareness that I can truly enjoy life to its fullest. And perhaps the secret of healthy long life is this consciousness. When it guides the body, then the body is in optimum health. Because that is what gives life. This energy, this divine, the spirit, the soul. And that what gives life can also heal life and prolong life. So it gives not only life, but it gives you also quality of life the more you become one with that, with the soul, with this energy. And that is consciousness, is that you become aware of this spirit in us. And that you can see it's working on you and around you. And you work not through just giving instructions or doing an action, but you can also do that work through this energy, this frequency of this consciousness that makes things happen. It's a long study. There's so much to it that I spend hours reflecting on these things, and it is very interesting that some people, I think, automatically through their grace, through Mother's Spirit that I was brought up by, have this facility of understanding and becoming one with it. Sois toujours uni à ma conscience, mon fils, Jesus. Remain always united with my consciousness. The Divine Mother used to say. And so I think on these things. What does all this mean? And what it means is truly that she showed me what true life is. And that's why I consider my life complete, because it's not only spiritual, or it is not only spiritual, it is not only material, it's everything. And those who know me see that I live a very happy, joyous life. Yes, to me, living like the Dalai Lama would be very boring. I admire him, I adore him. He's a brother that I think he's marvelous, the Dalai Lama. What a being. But I don't want to be like that because it would be too boring for me. The Mother taught me to be really like Lord Sri Krishna. To play the flute, to dance, but also be the warrior and to really live life to its fullest is what Mother told me to do. And so I consider myself truly a very normal human being. And to the point that I enjoy life more than most people I know. Sure, I have my pains and problems or difficulties, but nothing compared to what humanity is going through. There are ups and downs in everything. But the spirit, there is no ups and downs. It's the biological aspect. So you can have one day, because you ate something wrong, have diarrhea. Okay? But that's the body, not the spirit, not the consciousness. That has no effect, should not have the effect of consciousness. On the contrary, it's the consciousness that should control all that. And as we know, most accidents happen because of moments of being unconscious. And that could be also this outer consciousness, awareness, that you are not aware and boom, you get hit by a car. Okay. But when you're in that higher state of consciousness, these things don't happen. But there are moments when you're so preoccupied that you might lose a moment of of consciousness and bingo, you make an error or you forget something. So consciousness is part of this awareness that starts already as a child. As a child, the neurological brain starts evolving and you become aware more and more. So then the question would come, what happens to a person who is coma, whose brain is totally shut off? Does that person still maintain consciousness? Of course. What do you think? Surely no. After we went into samadhi, and even now, the mother, that consciousness is there. That's why the samadhi gives you what it gives you. It's not superstition. It's not belief. This is not devotion or something. This is absolute scientific facts. Difficult to prove it scientifically. But these are facts as real as this table is real in front of me. That their consciousness is there. Because every cell of the body is this divine, Brahmanic consciousness. And this is why the value of samadhi is for this entire world. Because it is a point like the sunshine, like the sunlight. It makes everything grow. It is they, by coming on this earth, have given to us something what sunlight has given to nature. So that is beautiful, and try and think about it. What is it more than just logically understanding things? So start by becoming aware at least of small things, like your thoughts, and see what they are doing to you. And you'll find out that your worst enemy is your brain, your thoughts. But you're not even aware of it, that it's making your heart go faster because you're thinking of something that's not pleasant. But then you'll find out it is through this brain that you start the initial journey of consciousness. Okay, because you have to first understand a few things through this brain. And so it should be in total harmony with the soul. Then the brain gives its maximum, not just logic and intelligence, but it gives you what logic and rationale does not give you. It is also more than this intuition. It is truly, I think, divine guidance. And it comes from the soul, from its consciousness. And the brain only interprets it so that you experience it. That person who is lying in coma does not experience it physically. But he can be in that state of consciousness. Because the mother and Shubhendu's neurological brain is no more in function. But even if there was nothing, not even ashes, that consciousness will be always there. And the beauty of it is that the consciousness is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Through it, you can know everything. You can do and achieve everything. And it can be everywhere simultaneously. What a fantastic phenomenon. Not even the sunlight can be omnipresent. Because if it is in the east, it's not there in the west. Okay? Because it's being hidden by the masses of the world. So, consciousness, no, there's no limit. It goes through everything. It's there. So their consciousness, this Brahmanic consciousness, is there in everyone, but you have to become aware of it. And there comes the word again, consciousness through consciousness. Awareness is part of consciousness, but it will help you to rejoin this higher level of awareness that is conscious, where you can see, observe thoughts and frequencies that you, otherwise with the occult eye, with the open eye, with anatomical eyes, you cannot see or understand. So I could take hours talking about it and still not explain it. But I hope that it has given you some kind of an insight what consciousness is. It starts with plain awareness. Start by at least controlling or observing your thoughts, and if you observe it, you can control it. If I observe that the tap is open and water is running, then I can turn it off so that water is not wasted. But if I'm not aware of it and I don't observe it, I let it run. Okay? So, see, it's so simple. If you become conscious, then you can observe, you become conscious, you become aware, and then you're starting this process of higher consciousness because you're observing things that are not material. So, if I can see the perfume of the jasmine flower that I can smell with my senses, but I can't see now with my anatomical eyes. But through this power of consciousness, I can become one with that perfume and thereby see it and understand it. And not just smell it. And this is interesting because I like doing that. Try that, to become one with the consciousness of a flower, of its perfume, of its essence. And you say, my God, this is schizophrenic. No, this is very interesting. In neurology, I know what schizophrenia is. But this is a very, very interesting process that you can do. It's a lovely game. It's more interesting than television. Okay? So, try through reflecting, understand all these things. So, in few words, consciousness starts with common awareness. But start becoming truly aware that you're breathing, that you have a body, that there are reactions in your body, that you're understanding your body physically. This is also the importance of yoga. I'm talking of physical yoga, that gives you awareness of your body and also of the soul and the divine. This is something unique that you don't get in modern gymnastics perhaps, but even in modern gymnastics, if performed with this particular concept of consciousness and everything, this then gives you more perfection because you're dominating, you're controlling your body far more through this observer. It's not consciousness, it's higher awareness when the gymnast is so concentrated that he's perfect in his exercises that he does. So I observe these things, I think about all this. Why is this particular person so good at that particular physical activity of gymnastics or sports? It shows that the person has total control over every single muscle and body. And that is higher level of awareness. That he controls while he's dancing or while he's performing this gymnastic act. He is aware of every single muscle, every single joint, where it is, what it is doing. Beautiful. That person should be able to go further. You know, if you teach that person that what you're doing here is try to do also in what's happening in the thought process. That's it. As simple as that. Enjoy life and become aware of that enjoyment. That is part of this initiation or initiating of becoming, reaching up consciousness. That Mother and Sri Aurobindo are and who have taught us that, or who have brought down this Brahmanic consciousness on earth. Namaste.